my friends. Welcome back to the Money Bear podcast. I'm your host, Chloe Daniels, also known as Clo Bare Money Coach on the internet, and I'm happy you're here. So, this is the Money Bear podcast where we talk about all things related to money. We get real bare about money, and that's kind of what I'm all about. So, today we've got an incredible guest who actually I have fangirled over on the internet for several years. But before we get to that, let's give you an update on some life stuff in the Clo Bare universe, and we'll get to your money tip this week. So, in terms of what's going on in the Clo Bare universe, I really don't feel like much has changed in the last week, to be totally honest. I feel like I'm finally getting into my stride where I am enjoying my life a little bit more, which is cool. I spent a lot of time on Sunday. I think I told you guys last week, like I'm really working on dedicating Sundays to like my spiritual growth and kind of figuring out more of what I want and what I want moving forward and who I want to be and where I want this business to go and what I want my future to look like. Because I feel like I just reached this point in my life where everything I've ever wanted, I now have, except for, the love of my life, who, if you're out there, I am still looking for you. um, P.S. We're gonna give up on dating apps and we're just gonna date through my podcast, guys. So, anyway, I feel like I've reached that point where I'm really, really satisfied and really happy with my life. And it's like, you spend all of your life dreaming for the moment where you reach, X point. And for me, it was being able to quit my job, being able to travel full time, and being able to, make money, doing something that I love. And I'm doing all of that now. And so it's like, okay, well, what's next? What's the next goal? That's kind of how I've lived my life for a really long time, is like searching after what's next and the next goal. And sometimes I have felt like there's something wrong with approaching life that way. But what I have learned is that as long as you can enjoy it, as long as you can embrace it and take time for yourself as well, and not just dedicate yourself to the pursuing of the next goal, there's usually a reason that that desire exists. And for me, I think it's because I'm just pursuing my purpose. And actually, speaking of purpose, if you guys are on my email list, I talk about my spiritual counselor, spiritual guide, spiritual coach, however you want to call her, Christina. Christina has really helped me navigate my inner world a lot better. I feel like she's like therapy for my spiritual world. And I'll be honest, I'm not a very spiritual person. Like, I have spent most of my life identifying as an atheist agnostic, which basically means that you don't believe in anything in particular, but you don't believe that it's possible to know what exists. Now, I think I more identify as an agnostic, where I actually do think something exists. I just don't think it's possible to know what it is. But anyway, I felt like one of the things that was missing in my life was some level of spirituality, and not in like, an organized sense, but in a personal, deeply personal sense of how I exist in the world and how I relate to the world and what happens and all the mysteries of it all. And so that's when Christina came into my life. And, in a way, she just kind of holds me accountable for my own personal growth and listening to what I need and all of that stuff. And it's like, it feels like therapy most of the time, to be totally honest. But anyway, in my session with her last week, we were talking about how when I was hanging out with all of my friends that weekend in Encinitas, and they're all finance creators who are probably objectively more successful than I am, and in many ways. And I was learning a lot from them. And at one point in the conversation, uh, as we were discussing, like getting attention and having people like fangirl over us and having folks, introduce themselves and be super excited to meet us, all of my friends were like, oh, that makes me so uncomfortable. It's so weird when that happens. And like all this attention, I don't really like attention. And as I was sitting there, I was like, you guys, I don't relate. Like, I was like, I love it. I love attention. I love being the center of attention. I am an attention whore, period. End of story. And it was funny because I was sitting there with all of these people who are like, nah, this isn't what I expected for my life, but it's going great. And I'm like, this is exactly what I expected for my life. Like, I didn't think it would turn out this way. Like, I certainly would have never guessed that I would be somebody who is a money expert talking about how to invest to build wealth. But I always knew I was going to do something where I was in front of people, because I feel like that's where I shine. It's like my zone of genius. And I was telling this to Christina, and I go, I used to feel shame in feeling that way. I used to feel like wanting attention and enjoying being the center of attention was a bad thing, and there was something wrong with me because it was like, oh, can you not get validation in your own self? Like, why do you have to get validation or enjoy the seeking out of attention from other people? And it's not what I have learned. It's not so much that I'm seeking validation, it's just that I love being the center of attention. I feed off of that. It gives me life. It allows me to be my best self. And as I was telling this to Christina, she goes, Chloe, the reason you love it is because you were meant to do it. It's because it's something that is telling you this is supposed to be part of your life. No matter what it is you do, this needs to be part of it. And that was kind of cool. It just it gave me this new level of understanding within myself, and it also just gave me this like newfound or further confidence in the fact that yeah, I like attention. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you identify in that way, be sure to send me an email. If you're on my email list, you already know my email, but my email is chloe@clobare.com, CLOBARE. But let me know if that resonates with you, because I'm sure I've got those folks who have been shamed into thinking that wanting attention and loving attention is a bad thing. And it's not. It's not. In fact, it just goes to show you that you were supposed to be doing something like this or whatever it is. So anyway, that was kind of my self-growth moment in this last week. Some fun stuff that I've got going on this week. As you guys know, I'm pursuing more joy in my life because I often let being practical get in the way of my own happiness. And this week, tonight, I am going to Hotel del Coronado to do a ghost tour, and I'm also going to treat myself to dinner and go to Coronado a little bit early so I can just kind of walk around and explore. And I'm really excited for that. And then on Sunday, I'm going to do some canyon climbing. I don't even know if that's the right word, canyoneering maybe. But this will be on Sunday. That'll be the beginning of my final week in San Diego. And I gotta say, guys, I think I'm probably gonna move here. The only question is when I'm gonna move here, because I might continue to do this whole digital nomad thing for a little bit longer. So anyway, that's what I've got going on in my personal life right now. Um, and yeah, so things are good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy, taking time for myself. I feel a lot more balanced lately. And that is a welcome feeling. So let's get on to your money tip of the week. So the money tip of the week is one that I talk about a lot on Instagram, but as you know, Instagram only shows 10% of your followers what you got going on. I need you to make sure that the money ooh, got a little bug there. It's annoying. I need you to make sure that the money that is inside of your Roth IRA account or your IRA account, or if you're trying to invest money in your HSA, I need you to make sure it's actually invested. One of the biggest mistakes that I see new investors make all of the time is that they do not actually invest the money inside of their Roth IRA or their traditional IRA or sometimes even their 401k, because they think a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, a 401k is an investment in of itself, and it is not. A Roth IRA, traditional IRA, 401k, TSP, all of those are accounts. So think about it this way. Let's say that you had I'm trying to think of what's a good analogy. Let's say you had a jar, and in that jar you wanted to put a bunch of coins. Well, when you put that jar is the account. Man, I'm really butchering this analogy. It's Friday. I still haven't had my coffee. Let's rewind and do that again. Elevate, you can cut that part. I want you to imagine a pail. Okay. The pail is your Roth IRA. It is your 401k. It's your 403b. So it's a pail, a little bucket, whatever. When you use that pail, you go to the beach and you go find a bunch of seashells. Those seashells that you put inside of the pail, that's like your investments. Your pail, without those investments, it's just a pail. That money's just going to sit there in the pail doing absolutely nothing. But once you go and you put seashells in there, well, then you've got your investments. So think of it that way, or it's a suitcase. An account is a suitcase, and you have to put your investments inside of that suitcase. So investing is really a three-step process. You open the account, whether it's a Roth IRA, a 401k, TSP, whatever it is. Then you connect your bank account, you transfer some money over into the account. And then when that money becomes available, you have to go buy investments. It does not automatically invest it for you unless you're using a robo advisor. But even if you're using a robo advisor, you need to make sure that you did your due diligence and you actually got it invested. So always, always, always make sure you know what you're invested in. Make sure your money is actually invested. If you are not sure, call your brokerage. Ask, hey, is my money invested? Now, keep in mind a money market account, a money market fund. Those are not really the type of investments that we're talking about. Money market funds and money market accounts are kind of like glorified bank accounts that give you a little bit of interest on your money, but they're really not what we're looking for, especially if we're looking to invest long term. If you are not sure what to invest in, if you are not sure how to get started, check out the show notes for the link to my free money guide as well as my free investing class, and we could talk about it there. But that is your money tip of the week. If you have never looked inside of your Roth IRA or your traditional IRA or your 401k, and you cannot confidently say, yes, I am invested, my challenge to you for this next week, and I hope you come back next week and are like, hey, Chloe, I did it and I know I'm invested. But my challenge to you is go look at your Roth IRA, go look inside of there and make sure you're invested and see, okay, what am I invested in? If you see money market account, if you see money market fund, no, that's not invested. You need to go buy investments. Okay. So that is your money tip of the week. This is a mistake people make all of the time. And I don't want you to make that mistake, because if you make that mistake, it's going to impact your retirement. You may not be able to retire because you have money basically sitting in a not even a, because it's not FDIC insured. It's not even a bank account. You have it just sitting in an account doing absolutely nothing for you. Do not make that mistake. We want our money to grow. We want our money to be working hard for us. So go check those bank accounts right now. Not bank accounts, brokerage accounts. I told you guys, my brain is still not fully working today. So anyway, let's get to this week's episode. This week, like I said, I decided to reach out to one of my favorite TikTokers and Instagram creators. His name is Jarrod Benson, and I actually found him last year sometime. I want to say last summer. And I found him because he was making really hilarious TikToks about Dave Ramsey. And you may have seen him as well. And so he and I became Instagram friends a while ago. And I was messaging him earlier and I was like, you know what? I need you to come onto my podcast. So he said yes. I had to pay him lots and lots of money to get him onto this show. Just kidding. I didn't pay him anything. But on today's episode, we talk about kind of his rise and what made him even start posting and how he's approaching it. And he's also gives a couple of tips for folks who are thinking about starting an Instagram or TikTok account, and like how to do that and how to do it in a way that works for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson. Not lesson, today's podcast episode. Oh my gosh, my brain is not working. Luckily, the interview was recorded earlier this week, so you won't hear all of my brain fog that's happening. I don't know if you guys have listened to the previous episodes, but if you haven't, you might not know I had COVID in early July, and I feel like the brain fog is still very real. So I apologize. But anyway, enough of me rambling. Let's get to the episode. But if you've made this far and you have not yet subscribed and you have not rated and you have not reviewed, here's just a friendly little reminder that we live for those. So if you could take a second, go do that. You can even scroll over to where you see where I left myself a review and you can use that as your template. But these reviews help us a lot. And if you wanted to see us continue to create content, I'd appreciate if you could go do that real quick. So that's all. Let's get to the episode. All right, welcome back to the Money Bear podcast. Today we have a guest that I am so excited about, and I honestly feel like I'm a little bit fangirling over because I've watched his content. I have loved his content for probably as long as he's been posting content specifically around Dave Ramsey. So today we have on Jarrod Benson. Jarrod, how's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I slipped into his DMs and I was like, "What's a girl got to do to get you on her podcast?" And he's like, "Lots and lots of money." So,
That's right.
guys, I really put out for this one. Paid him so much money.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like the game where the points don't matter. Like I paid you that kind of money.
Yeah.
So, Jarrod, for those of you who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do in real life and what do you do on the internet?
Okay. So in real life, I'm a real estate agent in Orlando, Florida. Uh, that's it. Very, very basic. Online, I do some real estate content. I've kind of moved away from that, but I do a lot of comedy, um, whether it's relatable comedy, finance comedy, things like that.
Yes, and I've really enjoyed recently he's been doing a lot of like finance hacks or like professional hacks
Yeah.
where he'll like kind of spin the hacks on their head and like give like a sarcastic hack. Have you ever had somebody who is like, and like for those of you who are watching, if you have not watched them, you need to go watch them immediately. But like, have you ever had somebody take them seriously?
I have. Yeah. Um, yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think the first one that happened on was where it was going to a car dealership, and when they say how much a car is, you go no you. It was just kind of like a joke, like a I'm a child, so
Yeah.
um, and then someone was like, there's no way that's gonna work, and I'm like,
You're
right,
like, yeah, no shit.
correct, yeah,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Because I noticed
yeah,
after a while of you doing those finance hacks or like professional hacks or how to save money hacks, which if anyone who is on TikTok or Instagram, we know that content is literally everywhere. I mean, heck,
right,
I've created like money hacks that aren't like really hacks, they're just education,
mhm,
but you see them everywhere and like people take those seriously. They know those are real. But I
yeah,
saw after you started posting those, you eventually put like these are not real. Like this is a
yeah.
joke. Like and I was like, oh, he must have had somebody who was like,
Like I'm gonna get sued. I gotta stop this.
right?
Yeah,
You're like disclaimer. Whereas like finance creators were always putting disclaimers of like, this is not financial advice.
hmm
And then you're like, this is comedy. Like, do
yeah,
not take this advice. Do not go punch your manager in the face or
yeah.
blackmail your
Unfortunately, I
manager.
have to say that, but it is what it is. It's the
It's
world we live in.
it's
So
it's the internet. It's a
right.
wild place.
hmm
So you have become TikTok and Instagram famous super fast. And what would you say, like, first, what inspired you to first start posting? And when did you start posting?
I started posting in January of 2021 on TikTok. Um, I had initially done TikTok to help grow my real estate business.
Mm,
It was just trying to make real estate content to get real estate clients. So I did that for a very long time. I finally started blowing up once I made this video about a zero down program. I think is what it was
mm.
for buying a house, and I got 100 something thousand followers from it. Um, and it was yeah, it was kind of crazy. That was right at the time where I started doing my Dave Ramsey content,
Yeah,
and
and it's that's the crazy thing about TikTok is you can like go for months and months getting like a couple hundred followers here, a couple hundred followers here, and then one video is like,
right,
oh, now you're TikTok famous.
that's all it takes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, but and then I started repurposing my TikToks onto Instagram. I did it kind of on and off for the past year. Like every once in a while, I'd remember to post, one of my TikToks as a reel. And then when I started to seriously sit down and do it every time I posted, and then start
Mhm.
reposting things that I never had posted on reels,
Mm.
it started to really take off. Um, and then around that time, I decided to switch from real estate content into comedy content only because the real estate content was getting a little too repetitive for me. It was kind of like, hey, the market's crazy. Hey, buy a house. And it was just kind of like, how many times can you do that and make it interesting?
Right. Right.
So,
You're like, yeah, hey guys, the market's still crazy.
right. That's the video.
Good luck.
Yeah, right.
But if you need to buy a house, I'm available.
Exactly. And it was getting to the point where I was just like, the market's crazy right now. There's not a whole lot of people buying. Why am I out there saying, hey, everyone should buy a house right now when, it's more of a personal decision. And I'm not really a salesman. I'm not the one that's going to be like, oh, hey, buy a house, buy a house. It's just like, if you want to buy a house, I'll help you.
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
gonna try to force you to do anything.
Well, and I think like you saying that, like you exploded once you started being really authentic to who you are. And like
Yeah,
it didn't feel authentic to be posting stuff about like the real estate market when we're dealing with one of the most difficult real estate markets that are out
right.
there. And so then you made this really cool pivot into comedy. Did you ever think that you would end up being somebody who's posting like funny TikToks on TikTok?
Not really.
Yeah.
I've always been like kind of like the class clown. It's cliche, I know, I'm sorry. But that's kind of like always what I've been. So like I always try to put a comedic spin on things, but I never thought I'd be posting just comedy.
Yeah, like you are now in my head, you are a comedy account. Like you are
Thank
the
you.
person I go to for laughs. And like there are very few creators out there who I'm like, I gotta see what they posted today. And like you're one of them where I'm
Thank you. I
like I
appreciate that.
see one of those hacks and I'm like, okay, what are his other hacks? Because these are freaking hilarious. So what would you say now we've mentioned the Dave Ramsey. Can you describe in your own words what the Dave Ramsey TikToks are for those who have not seen them, which by the way, if you haven't seen them, you are missing out.
So essentially, what they are is my poor life choices. I'm making fun of myself because I spend a lot of money on things, and it's relative, but um, that's kind of what it is. It's kind of me making fun of the fact that we know that Dave Ramsey would have a coronary with what I'm doing, um, and that's it.
I think the very first one I ever saw of you, like that made me follow you immediately, was on TikTok where you were drinking like Fruity Pebbles milk, you said, and you're like, oh,
hmm
just a millennial drinking Fruity Pebbles milk. And then all of a sudden, Dave Ramsey floats by and he flicks you off. And I was
That was
like,
my
this,
first. That was my first one.
that was your first one. So
Yeah.
I've been following since that
hmm
one came out. And I remember seeing that. I was like, this is freaking genius. And like,
Yeah.
I freaking love it. So, have you ever tell us what you think about Dave Ramsey in the way that you would like to share? I know
Sure.
he's a controversial character in a lot of podcast episodes that I've had where he comes up, we say, he who must not be named.
Right. My hot take is, his advice is for a 1980s and 1990s economy. Um, Same with people. I want to spend money on things that I want to spend money on, and I'm
hmm
going to. So I need advice that's going to fit that. That's
Yeah,
that's
no,
kind of it.
I love that, and I think that that's so
Yeah.
true. Is like it's something that we had that voice for a really long time. Luckily, now there's a lot of new voices in the industry, and it's
Right.
like it doesn't have to be that black and white. Like you
Exactly.
can have a
Yep.
nuanced approach and like not hate your life and live off of rice and beans for however long it takes for you to get out of debt. Which even like
Exactly.
getting out of debt at all costs, as I'm sure you know, isn't even necessarily the best advice depending on what kind of debt it is. As in
Exactly.
for being in real
100%.
estate.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
hmm
love it. I think it's hilarious. Do you ever get trolls from his community?
I I
That's
get
a
a lot
yes.
of people. Yeah. I also get a lot of people who think I like him because I'm
No,
making videos about him. Um,
no way.
yeah.
That would have never been my takeaway from any of those videos.
I don't know. I remember getting a DM from a woman. She was like, I love how much you love Dave Ramsey. Look, here's a photo of my husband with Dave Ramsey. And I was just like, and she was like, he was so happy. And I'm like, awesome.
Like, cool. Like, I'm not even
Thanks.
gonna take the time to correct you.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't even know what to say. I don't be like, no, but
That's hilarious. Yeah, I feel like every single time I ever, and I don't really post about Dave Ramsey anymore just because it's like, it's not worth my time. But
I know. Yeah.
it's like every time I even just say like, "Hey, some of his advice isn't the best," hordes of people come into the comments and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's a multimillionaire. What are you?" Like,
Oh, that's my
supporting.
favorite.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
like defending him tooth and nail, and it's like, this feels like a cult.
Uh,
Like the
this is a
level in
problem.
which, yeah, like the level
hmm
in which you're defending this person like blindly, it feels like a
Yeah.
cult. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
too too funny. I love it. So our we're gonna switch to money. As you know, the Money Bear
hmm
podcast is all about money. We're talking about,
Absolutely.
how we spend money, how we invest money. So for you right now with your TikTok and Instagram first, are you still doing real estate have you kind of made the switch to full-time content creator?
I'm still doing real estate.
Okay.
Um, it's a little lighter right now than it usually would be because I am spending a lot of time doing content creation. So yeah, but I still do it full time. A lot of my business, as I said before, I'm not really a salesman. I'm not one of those people that picks up the phone and cold calls people. I've never done that. I work off like referrals, like other agents will send me people. I work off my sphere, people I know, people I've sold to, in the past, things like that. So
Awesome. And
yeah,
so then now with your TikTok and Instagram account being like you're over 200,000 on TikTok, right?
I'm at yeah, I think I got 305,000 on TikTok. Yeah.
305,000. That's amazing. And then you're almost to 200,000 on Instagram. So
Yes.
are you monetizing in any way? And if so, what are the ways that you're monetizing?
I am definitely monetizing. I
That's
don't
what
know
we
if
like to hear. Yes.
yes. I don't know if you're in the TikTok creator fund or not.
I
Um,
was in it briefly and then I got out because when I was in the creator fund, my views tanked. And like the amount of money I was making from it, I was like, this is embarrassing. Like I'm embarrassed for
yeah.
TikTok.
Honestly, with the amount of money that I have made, without going into specifics, the amount of money that I have made on TikTok since I joined the creator fund, maybe June of last year, um, is less than I make in a month on Instagram.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh. And your
yeah,
videos go crazy viral. Like every single one I feel like is like hitting new levels. And like
yeah.
the fact that even you are making like a laughable amount is wild.
Yeah, you have to have millions on TikTok to be able to make just a light living.
Yeah,
So
light living.
it's
I
a
like that
light
word.
living. Yeah,
To be able to max out your Roth IRA
that's
slowly.
right.
Okay, so then we're barely monetizing on TikTok, but we're still
hmm
monetizing. What else do we got going on?
Instagram bonuses.
Hmm.
Instagram bonuses are really nice. Um, it depends on the amount of views you get. But let's say you get like 40 million views, you're making $4,000 to $5,000 from that.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
and personally, my Instagram, by the way, I think I was at 5,000 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Now it's at 185,000.
Yeah,
Um,
it was like overnight for you where it was
yeah,
like
it was
one
it was
day
very quick.
you hit like do you remember which video? I mean, every creator knows. Which video was it that sent you off into the ether?
Okay, yeah, I do.
Hmm.
It was a repost from my TikTok,
Okay.
um, where it was kind of like it was my first life hack,
Mhm.
right? That I had made 6 months prior, and it got 20,000 views on TikTok. And I posted on here, and it was something like how to get your offer accepted on a house. It's like, oh, do you want to see your kids again? I don't know if you remember seeing that or not.
I could
Um,
do, yes.
yeah, that I think has right now like 12 million views. Um,
12 million views.
yeah,
Holy crap.
and that kind of pushed it, and then I started to make more life hacks over the span of like 2 weeks. I made like 7 or 8 more life hacks, and each one of those got a couple million views each. And of course, with the way content works, when you mention, even if it's a joke like these are, if I say follow me, it's more of a psychological thing where someone will follow you. And I think
Mhm.
that's really what, since those took off, that's kind of what helped push me to where
I
I am.
love that. That's so wild that you were sitting on this gold that didn't even
Yeah.
do well on TikTok for like 6 months, and then the second you
hmm
post it, you're like, "Let's try it," and it's like,
hmm
boom, exploded, your life has changed.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It's wild, and what I always find interesting too, switching into, like, creator mode, is it doesn't necessarily like, it's one doing well on one platform and not doing well on the other. It's like, it's not really an indicator on how it's gonna do on the other platform. I would say
That's 100% correct. Yeah.
it's wild. You're just like,
Mhm.
okay, well, we're just like praying to the algorithm gods, sacrificing our firstborn children, and like hoping that, something goes well, but you never know. And like, even it could go super viral on TikTok, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen on Instagram and vice versa.
Right.
It's a weird world we live in. And like,
It is.
always like praying to the algorithm gods. It's always just, it's a
Mhm.
crapshoot. So, So besides Instagram bonuses and the creator fund on TikTok, are there any other ways that you're monetizing? I know I've seen some swag on your page.
Yeah, I just came out with merch that I designed myself.
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
yeah, it's one of my taglines. It's wow, very cool. Um,
I love the monotone in which you say it too. Like, wow, very cool.
yeah, but that's it. It just says that in very retro. I like to call it synthwave because I love the musical style of synthwave. So it's very 80s. You know,
Yes, yes. It's very 80s and very like Florida man 80s.
yeah, hmm absolutely.
I love it. So any other ways, or is that what you've got going on right now?
Just some brand deals as well.
Mhm.
I worked with a beverage company, and I have some things in the works, but those should be good.
Yay, we'll have to pay
Yeah,
attention to see what those things are coming out
absolutely.
soon. Awesome. Now, this is off script because we didn't discuss this question before, so feel free to skip it. But
Okay.
if you had some tips for somebody who is like thinking about dipping their toe into content creation on TikTok or Instagram, what would be like the top 3 tips you would give somebody?
Okay, that's a good one. I would say number one, first off, just do it. That's again very cliche, but you have to start somewhere. When I
Mhm.
first started, I was scared to death to be on video. Just I hate how I look on video. Everything. It was
Mhm.
just I couldn't do it, but I did it because I was like, you know what? I want to be able to at least put my business a little bit more in passive mode where I don't have to do as
Mhm.
much. So number one, just do it.
Mhm.
Um, Number two, once you do something that sticks, do it again and do it again and again. Um, Obviously, change it up, but still do the same format.
Yeah, and that's such a good tip because I think one of the reasons that you have blown up so much is exactly that. Is like you figured out those financial hacks or life hacks were working
Mhm.
so well and it was like boom, 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 let's keep creating the life hacks. And I remember literally having the thought when I saw the first life hack, I was like, I need more of these. And so I
Yeah,
immediately went to your page and looked for more and I was like, "Oh, is this the experience of like every other like watcher of content
yeah,
like that they have is they immediately go to this person's page and look for more of the same thing." I was like,
yeah.
yeah, I guess that's the secret.
Right, right. And it's like with my Dave Ramsey videos. Everyone knows what's happening. Everyone
Yeah.
knows what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But because it's short, it's 7 seconds altogether.
Wow.
People are ready for it. They're like, all right, let's see it.
Yeah,
And that's
I
that's one of the
didn't
things.
I didn't even think about that because that's like definitely a limiting belief you could tell yourself is like they already know what's going to happen. And I think about that
Hmm.
one woman on TikTok who does the like itty bitty teeny weeny, like she's
Hmm.
carrying, I don't know if you've seen it or not,
Yeah.
the one where she's carrying a boombox on her shoulder,
Yep.
just talking about like when your best friend breaks up with somebody.
Right.
She did her whole account was built off of doing every single video exactly the same, just like that, with like slight variances. And like
Right.
same with you, part of your platform was built off of those exact same videos with slight differences. And it's not like
Right.
you didn't have to research something new to like create a new video. You didn't have to like like go off and do anything really difficult necessarily. You just had to like buy something new.
Right. Like I'd be at Cheesecake Factory and I'd be eating and I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, this will make a Dave Ramsey video. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
That was it. Um,
Yeah.
it's those depending on what they are. They take 5 minutes. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, and that's the thing too with TikTok and Instagram is I think a lot of us overthink it like in
Yeah.
general. Not only overthinking it like your first point, which is like just get started. Like so many of us are like, oh, I can't get started until
Right.
XYZ. Like I can't get started
Yep.
until I have a website. I can't
That's
get
it.
started
You can't do that
until
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like no, if you want to do it, just start doing it and you will figure it out as you go. If you scroll back to my very first reels and TikToks, they are so cringe. But like you, I started in January 2021 because I was like, I'm just going to do this. Like I've seen other people have huge success
Mhm.
with this. I'm going to do it. It's going to make me a better content creator. And then I didn't even
Right.
start posting on reels until months after that. But because of that, I was like, getting better so much quicker because I was like, I'm just going to keep doing this. Like I don't know what
Right.
I'm doing, but I'm going to keep doing it. So
Yeah.
I love those tips. So what would be your third tip?
Um, Make it engaging. Obviously, again, I hate to do this. Going back to the Dave Ramsey thing, if it's a 7-second clip, the first 4.5 seconds is text that
Mhm.
takes you about 4.5 seconds to read, and the
Mhm.
next, what, 2.5 seconds is, um, Dave Ramsey flicking you off. So people finish the video. Most
Yeah.
people finish the video,
Yeah.
which helps it, helps the algorithm push it.
Yeah, and for those of you who are listening who are new to creating and don't necessarily know why he picked 7 seconds, 7 seconds I think is the average length of time for most viral videos. It's seven
Yeah.
seconds or less. So if
Yep.
you're getting started, especially if you're getting started in the comedy space or in just like I don't know what other space. I mean, even I do it. Like my most
Hmm.
viral reels are usually 7 seconds, and it's pretty rare for it to be beyond that, or 7 seconds or less, I should say.
Right. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons that they do so well is the
Hmm.
fact that they're quick, and you're reading something most of the time.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, exactly. And so you're watching it, and like me, I watch them over and over. Like I usually with those Dave Ramsey ones, and it's so funny. Like I'm about to say I watch them a couple of times, and I was like, why do I even do that? Like
Yeah.
I don't
I know.
know. I'm
I do
reading
the
it.
same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like laughing, and then I'm like just doing it again, and like to get more details and things like that. And it's like I don't know why we do it, but we do it.
I know. Yeah, I'll be scrolling there, yeah, sitting there at night scrolling through TikTok, and I will sit
Oh
there and
yeah.
I'll watch something 4 or 5 times if I think it's funny.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
Or if it's like transitions. Oh my gosh, I
oh yeah, I
can
love,
never.
yeah, yeah,
I watch transitions, even my own. I will watch them like 600 times because there's just something so satisfying about a
uh huh.
transition. I don't know
I agree.
what it is. Oh
I
my gosh,
agree.
and the people who can do like crazy stuff, like Reels on Instagram, nobody knows how good transitions actually are. So they see my transitions and they're like, "You're the transition queen." I'm like, "That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing because you should go see people who actually do transitions like
Yeah,
for their TikTok and they're
right.
crazy."
Yeah, and
Mhm.
what, well, also, I guess, touching back on the tips. One of the things that I do is I film everything in TikTok because
Mhm.
I think the TikTok editor is the best. Um, it's so simple for me. It might
Yeah.
just be because I'm used to it, but I do
Yeah.
everything, and then I use a site called SnapTick. I don't
Yeah.
know if you've heard of it.
Yep. Yep.
You just download the video watermark free in HD,
Yeah.
so you don't lose any quality or anything. And then that's what I post on my reels.
Right. And it's like that's just doing that has made you exploded on Instagram as
Right.
well. So it's
Yep.
funny. I actually do the reverse, but I really need to do it that way because Instagram is so glitchy. Every single time, I feel like at least once a week, I have it where Instagram will just like delete it or it will freeze or it won't work or it'll shut down my account. Like so many different things that I'm like, I should really just like do all of it in TikTok and then just repost
Mhm.
it on Instagram. But for some
Yeah.
reason I'm a masochist and I just keep doing it on Instagram.
Yeah, I tried it on Instagram, I think 2 or 3 times, and I don't know if you remember. Probably about a month ago, there was like a text glitch in Instagram.
Yes.
That was the like couple of days that I tried to do it, and I just couldn't. And I was like,
Uh,
all right, I'm done.
I will
I'll just do
say,
it all on TikTok.
yeah, that particular glitch, because that's what I did too. Once that glitch started happening, there was like, for those of you guys who don't know, this glitch where you would spend all this time putting in the text in your reel and like put however long you want it to durate, however long the duration is. I was like, can you make duration a word?
You did. I think you
I
did.
mean, I
That's
mean a
great.
verb. Yeah, sure. How long you want that word to durate, and then uh, you would go to post, and it would be completely messed up. It would be like
Right.
durating. Oh my god, I'm literally just like making up words over here. The duration would not be what you wanted it to be, so everything would be off. And I remember that week specifically
Oh.
because I was making brand content that was due, and
Oh
I
no.
oh my god, I lost my
That's
mind.
painful. Yeah.
Oh, it was so painful because brand deals, it's like I'm okay with putting out B plus content, but with brand deals, they want A plus content every single
Exactly.
time.
Yep.
And I was just like, I remember it was a Friday afternoon on top of that. And I remember like actually screaming at one
Yeah.
point because it
Yeah.
took me like 2 hours to get one thing done. Why I did that, I think for some reason the saving it wouldn't work. So I couldn't download it and just move over to TikTok.
Mm.
And I was like, I am not recording this again.
Yep. Yeah. That's painful. That is really painful.
Uh, oh, the pains of content creators, guys. You never
Right.
know until you're doing it. So
Yeah.
I love that was a good tip. I also use I think it's called SSS Tick or something, and it's another one
Okay.
that you can like remove
Nice.
the watermarks as well. So,
Perfect.
okay, awesome. So, do you have anything going on right now where you can like direct people to go follow you? Where can people find you? What do you have going on?
You guys can just follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's at the Jared Benson. That's Jarrod Benson. It's not Jared as most people think it is, but
Yes,
that's
and
it.
I'll put that down in the show notes as well. I love it. You're like, that's it. That's all I got going
That's
on.
that's it. That's
So
all I got.
that's an easy one. All right,
Yeah.
now I have the final question for you, the one that I
Okay.
ask everybody. So, what is your very first money memory?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, the only thing that's coming to mind is my parents were obsessed with Robert Kiyosaki.
Okay. I like
Um,
it. That's like a side, like a tangent from Dave Ramsey. Same family.
yeah, uh, and they made me read his book. I can't remember how old I was. I was like 9. Um, but they went to like his summits and everything. It was this whole big thing.
So they were
I
like
think that's
obsessed,
probably.
obsessed.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's like a whole other level of dedicated if you're going to summits.
yeah, yeah. I think they went to a summit with him, and before politics Trump. I think
Mm.
him and Robert Kiyosaki did this thing together, and they had this like thing in like Las Vegas or something. That my parents went to from Florida. It was this whole big thing.
Gosh, and they made you read his book at 9 or
I
something?
think
Oh
I think
my
it was
gosh.
like 9. I can't remember. Yeah, but yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's funny. Do you think that's why you went into real estate?
Um, Probably not. I'll be honest. I got into real estate because I was like, okay, I have not been to college. What can I do to make money? Uh, that was
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I love that because like
yeah,
when I think about my college journey, going like 80 grand in debt for an English degree and a Spanish degree that I don't even use. I wish I had thought about like the other options and like
right.
thought about like doing something in entrepreneurship or real estate because you can make a crap ton of money if you're able to
Yeah,
figure out how to do that on your own.
right.
So I love that you went that route.
Thanks.
Very cool. I love hearing the money stories as well. So everybody who is listening, you guys better go ahead and head over to his platforms. He's got the funniest content, the best life hacks, but remember, don't take them seriously.
Please.
You guys, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
All right, all right, all right. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed talking to Jarrod. Jarrod is so freaking cool, and I am actually going to see him once I'm down in Orlando for FinCon, and I cannot wait. This guy just seems like a cool dude to hang out with. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now, as always, since we are talking about money, important disclaimers. Nothing on this show is intended to be personal finance advice. It's not supposed to be financial advice. It should not replace the work that you do with your financial advisor. As always, do your own research, do make your own decisions and make sure you're making decisions that are best for you. These episodes, they're for education and opinion only. So always got to state that, guys. And if you want to check out my full terms and conditions, head on over to clobare.com and just type in terms and conditions and it'll come right up. So thank you guys so much for listening or watching, however you're doing this. If you are thinking, hey, Chloe, I really want to get my money right, don't you worry. I got a free 30-page guide for you. So check out the show notes. That is listed there. And then I also have a link to my free investing class. So check those out. Get on those. Get on my email list. And I'll see you guys next week. But before we end, friendly reminder, if you made it this far and you're enjoying our content, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us out a crap ton. So I thank you in advance, and I'll see you guys next week.